Have you noticed your performance isn't what it used to be? Is your diet not as solid as you'd like it to be and no food is contributing? Did you know over 40% of females are deficient in one of the micronutrients I'm going to discuss today, and 90% of female athletes don't take in enough of this other micronutrient? In today's episode, I'm going to tell you the most important micronutrients every female athlete needs to include to boost their performance and how you can get them in. So grab a pen and paper to take some notes and let's get into it. Tired of feeling exhausted after training? Confused about how to fuel your body without all the food rules? Welcome to Female Sports Nutrition, where I'll help you fuel strong, build muscle, and perform your best, all while breaking free from diet culture. I'm Kristen, a sports dietitian, trainer, and Jesus lover, and I'm here to help you fuel with freedom. Lace up your shoes, grab that smoothie, and let's jump in. Are you a female athlete looking to elevate your performance through better fueling? I'm here to help you set meaningful goals and tackle the challenges you're facing in your nutrition journey. Join me for a free, no-obligation consultation where we will discuss your unique challenges and aspirations, explore personalized strategies to enhance your fueling, and identify the best services to support you in achieving your goals. This is your chance to gain clarity and direction in your nutrition journey, no strings attached. I'll drop the link below for you in the show notes. All you need to do is click to schedule your free consultation. Let's work together to fuel your success and empower your athletic journey. So there are lots of reasons for deficiencies in female athletes. Number one is actually disordered eating, restrictive eating, red S, and female athlete triad. They're all kind of wrapped up in one. So if you are restricting your intake, if you've been trying to lose some body fat, you've been cutting back on things, this is a number one reason why female athletes can be deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. Not only that, when you're an athlete, you're going to be using a lot more micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. You're going to be using a lot more of those, which means that your body's going to require more of those. And if you are not increasing your intake of these foods, guess what? You're going to become deficient in them. Plus, because you're sweating and your feet are striking the ground, you're going to be losing more of those micronutrients as well. And so we need to make sure that you are getting in enough of those. So we're going to get into what these micronutrients are that a lot of female athletes can become deficient in, and that will suck your performance. And we want to make sure that you have great performance. So let's talk about what these micronutrients are. Number one is vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually a really important vitamin. It's actually a hormone, and this is where over 40% of female athletes are deficient in vitamin D. That's a really, really high amount. A lot of the population is actually low in vitamin D, but you may be thinking, I go out in the sun, I'm probably not low in vitamin D, but guess what? You can still be low in vitamin D, especially if you have darker skin. You're not going to absorb vitamin D as well as somebody that has lighter skin. So vitamin D is really important for your bone health, muscle function, and it can also contribute to muscle strength and protein synthesis. If you are deficient in it, you'll notice that you are very tired. You're not going to have a lot of energy. You're going to feel drained, even if you're getting enough sleep. And also you can have bone and muscle pain. So this can be particularly in your back, your hips, your legs. You can also be getting muscle aches, cramps, or weaknesses. And you can also be getting injuries like tendonitis or stress fractures. Low vitamin D can also make you susceptible to more infections and illnesses. So if you notice that you've been getting sick more often, it could be a sign that you are low in vitamin D. Plus, most females are going to care about this. I know I certainly do, is that low vitamin D can be associated with hair loss. So if you are losing lots of hair, you're getting clumps of hair, maybe even missing when you're taking a shower, vitamin D can be the source of that hair loss. Plus, if you are low in vitamin D, you can experience depression, anxiety, and irritability, mood changes, and nobody likes to be like that. So I would suggest first making sure that you are not deficient in vitamin D. Go to your doctor and get a blood test to see if you are deficient in this. Or if you don't want to go through your doctor, this is something that I could order for you. So the best way to counteract a vitamin D deficiency or even prevent a vitamin D deficiency is to get out in the sun between the hours of 10 to 2 for at least 30 minutes every day. That's when you're going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of vitamin D absorption, especially when it's spring and summer outside, and that's when UV rays are going to be highest. And you want to have as much skin exposed as possible. And I know someone's going to shoot me here, but this is where you don't want to put on sunscreen for at least 30 minutes so that you can absorb vitamin D. Sunscreen is going to block that out. And so you want to make sure that you are getting in as much vitamin D as possible. You're going to get more vitamin D from the sun than you would with food. And if you go out in the sun for 30 minutes, you can get as much as 50 nanomoles of vitamin D3. And it's actually highly unlikely that you're going to get the recommended amount of vitamin D per day just from food alone. So you really want to make sure that you're getting out in the sun, because that's where you can stock up on vitamin D during the spring and the summer so that you're good for the rest of the year when you're not going to get as much. However, that doesn't mean that you should not worry about food sources of vitamin D. So let's talk about what those are, because this does help. So fatty fish like salmon, trout, mackerel, tuna, generally anything that is wild caught is going to have more vitamin D than the farmed fish. Mushrooms that are grown with UV light are going to be a good source of vitamin D. Egg yolks contain a moderate amount of vitamin D. Beef liver is also going to be a source of vitamin D, as well as cod liver oil. I don't know too many people that are jumping on the cod liver oil bandwagon, but there certainly are going to be people out there. So it is a good source. Now, there are going to be fortified foods of vitamin D. This would be things like cow's milk, yogurt, breakfast cereal, orange juice, and even some plant-based milks are going to have vitamin D added to them. Now, if you do get a blood test and notice that you are truly deficient in vitamin D, this is where I would suggest actually getting in a vitamin D supplement, because like I said, it's going to be really hard to get enough vitamin D from food alone. And if you are deficient in vitamin D, we really want to bring that up as soon as possible, because low vitamin D is really going to affect a lot of other things. So a supplement would be helpful here. And this is where you don't want to just get any Joe Schmo vitamin D supplement off the shelf. I really like Thorne brand of supplements, and I will link that below for you, because they do third-party testing. They are NSF certified, and a lot of their supplements are NSF certified for sports. So if you ever get drug tested, you will not test positive for some banned substance. Next up is calcium, and calcium is not necessarily going to boost your performance, but it's certainly going to affect your performance if you are low or deficient in it, because you're going to get an injury. And calcium and vitamin D work hand in hand, and percent of females are not getting enough calcium per day. And this is really important, because by the age of 30, you're not building bone anymore. You're actually just losing bone. So if you're not stocking up on calcium when you're young, you're really going to set yourself up for failure when you get older. And when you are over the age of 30, if you're not consuming calcium on a daily basis, now you're also shooting yourself in the foot, maybe even for right now, but certainly for when you get older. And that can cause osteopenia and osteoporosis. But for here and now, you're more likely to get an injury, especially a stress fracture. You can also get tendonitis if you're not getting enough of calcium and vitamin D together. So it's really important that you are getting in both of these. And a lot of times you can actually find supplements that are both calcium and vitamin D, like Viactive Chews, for example, contain both. So if you are between the ages of 19 and 50, you need about 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day. If you are over the age of 50, you need to be focusing on 1,200 to 1,300 milligrams of calcium per day. And the way that you can get this in is dairy is going to be your best source. So getting in 3 servings of dairy per day. So that could be yogurt, that could be a glass of milk, that could be kefir. Unfortunately, cottage cheese and just eating a piece of cheese is not going to contain quite as much calcium, but they do contain calcium. Another option, which I don't know how many people are going to jump on this one, but is eating canned fish with the little bones in there. I personally do not want to eat bones, so I probably wouldn't do this, but you certainly could do that. That is a great way to get in calcium. And dark leafy greens like kale, broccoli, collards, mustard greens, those are all going to be good sources of calcium. Not as good as dairy, but it is going to give you calcium. And then, of course, there's going to be fortified foods like soy milk and certain cereals, as well as tofu is actually going to be a good source of calcium. All in all, dairy is really going to be your best source of calcium. So if you're not able to take in 3 servings of dairy per day, then this is another time where I would say get on a supplement. But make sure that you're getting in vitamin D and calcium at the same time. Next up, out of the micronutrients, and I know that you've heard me talk about this before if you've listened to any of my other episodes, is iron. This is one of those micronutrients that a lot of female athletes can be deficient in, and statistics on deficiency of iron in female athletes can range anywhere from 15 to 80%, which is a huge range. But basically what that means is that a large number of female athletes are going to be at risk for performance issues because they are not taking in enough iron. Your best sources of iron are going to be things like shellfish, so oysters, mussels, clams, any type of organ meats are going to be really high in iron. If you are totally disgusted by eating organ meats like beef liver, for example, I do have a little bit of a hack for you. One is you can actually make like a beef liver meatloaf or hamburger patties. So basically what you do is you blend up the beef liver and then you mix it in with your ground beef, and then you can form that into either hamburger patties or meatloaf. Of course, you're going to add other spices and whatever. So it'll actually cover the taste and you won't even know that it's in there. I promise, I've done it before and I've fed it to my family. Nobody knows. If you are still grossed out by that idea, there are beef liver supplements that you can take. And that would actually be a great bioavailable way to get in iron. A lot of times iron is not going to be absorbed as well from a supplement, and it can also cause stomach upset. So if you're one of those people, I would suggest turning to beef liver supplements instead. And there is a brand that I do like, which is Perfect brand, and I will link that below for you. That is coming from grass-fed cows, which is what you want because you're going to get more vitamins and minerals out of grass-fed cows than cows that are coming from a feedlot. Other great options are going to be meat in general, eggs, some beans like kidney beans are going to have iron in them, as well as lentils, navy beans, and soybeans. You can also have dried fruit and nuts. And another option that you could do is if you cook with a cast iron pan, and if you don't, I highly recommend it. A cast iron pan, use a metal spatula, and that will actually kind of chip away a little bit of the iron from the pan and it gets in your food. I promise you don't taste it, but cooking with cast iron pans for years, but it does help to increase your iron content in your food, which you then eat. And now that will help to get your iron levels up in your body. Now, again, if you are very low in iron and it's really making you exhausted throughout the day, you definitely want to focus on iron-rich foods, but you also want to focus on getting in an iron supplement. But like I said, you can do the beef liver supplements to help build that up first because that's going to not give you that stomach upset, and it is a more bioavailable source of iron than some of the other iron supplements on the market. You do not, however, want to take iron and calcium at the same time. They will compete for absorption, but vitamin C will help to increase your iron intake. And vitamin C is, lo and behold, next on the list. If you are not eating several servings of fruits and vegetables per day, meaning like at least 3 servings of fruits and 3 servings of vegetables per day, you are probably not getting in enough vitamin C. And vitamin C is an antioxidant, and it's really important for preventing damage to your cells from free radicals produced during exercise. And that can lead to fatigue and muscle damage. So we want to make sure that you are getting in enough of vitamin C throughout the day. And really the best thing to do is just eat more fruits and vegetables, which I think we can all benefit from. It's going to help to increase our hydration throughout the day because those contain a lot of water. It's going to give us more fiber, and it's going to give us more vitamin C. Plus, it's going to help to absorb iron more. Next up on the list is zinc. So zinc is going to support your immune function and protein synthesis. So basically your ability to build muscle, which is going to be important for muscle recovery after exercise, which is then in turn going to help to boost your performance later on. So if you're not getting enough of these zinc-containing foods, I highly suggest that you start incorporating them into your diet. And you will find a lot of these foods do overlap. So just as I mentioned for iron, oysters are going to be high in zinc, followed by red meat, chicken, and then things like crab and lobster. If you don't eat any of those because you're a vegetarian or vegan, you can certainly get in nuts and seeds like pumpkin seeds, cashews, hemp seeds. Those are all good sources of zinc, and beans, lentils, chickpeas, those are going to give you zinc, although your absorption may be lower than zinc from an animal source because of phytates. So just be aware of that, making sure that you are actually cooking those things. I mean, not that you're eating raw beans, but if you're cooking your beans in an Instant Pot, making sure that you're rinsing them off afterwards. If you're eating nuts and seeds, making sure that you're getting roasted ones rather than just eating the raw versions, because you're going to have more phytates in them, or you might know them as anti-nutrients, and that's going to lower the absorption of zinc. And of course, eggs should really be named the next superfood, in my opinion, is also going to be a great source of zinc. Okay, next up is magnesium. And magnesium is important for energy metabolism. So basically allowing you to have energy, muscle function, and nerve function. You need all of these things when you're training. And if you don't have those things, it's really going to affect your performance. Not only that, but you can experience a lot more muscle knots and cramping if you're not getting in enough magnesium. Ask me how I know. So some food sources of magnesium are going to be soy products like milk, soy milk, or tofu, any types of legumes or seeds, nuts like almonds or cashews, any whole grains like brown rice or millet, fruit, and dark leafy vegetables like Swiss chard, kale, broccoli, and even avocados. Calcium is needed for muscles to contract, and magnesium helps your muscles to relax, and you really need to make sure that you're getting in both of them. So even if you don't think that you need calcium, make sure you're getting it in. And same thing with magnesium. The two are really going to help. Another way that you can get magnesium without actually eating it, which I do suggest you still eat it, is to take an Epsom salt bath. This is a great way to unwind at the end of the day and to recover from some of your training sessions, and it's going to help to soothe your sore muscles. Make sure that you are taking a full measuring cup of Epsom salt and putting it in your bath water, though. Otherwise, you will not get enough. But your skin actually does absorb magnesium from the Epsom salt. Okay, so let's recap here on the micronutrients that are really important for female athletes. Number 1 is vitamin D. Number 2 is calcium. Number 3 is iron. Number 4 is vitamin C. Number 5 is zinc. And number 6 is magnesium. Like I said, a lot of these foods you're going to notice are repeating. So if you can take those foods that are repeating and get those in over the course of the day, it's going to really set you up for success. However, I do suggest getting yourself tested on some of these things, especially vitamin D and iron, to make sure that you are not deficient in them. And if you are deficient in them, making sure that you are getting on a supplement to help boost the amount of those vitamins and minerals in your body so that you are not getting further in the hole and you can boost your performance quicker. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.